Khadija, thank you so much for coming in. An absolutely horrific story. You can't imagine the horrors that poor child went through. How and why do you think she was fouled so badly on so many levels?
Thank you so much for having me, and it always breaks my heart when I'm talking about this little girl. She was 10 years old girl. She was beaten, she was burned with iron, she was scalded with hot water and hooded. And there were 71 fresh injuries on her body and 29 fractures at the time of her death. And nothing could, urge the people who were looking at her injuries, and they were just silent. Nothing and no injury was reported to a doctor or to the concerned authorities. And it breaks my heart again when I say this, but I have no doubt that the way she was starting wearing hijab to conceal, her injury, that's the most tragic part, because why a girl, 10-year-old girl, she's wearing hijab? Nobody questioned it. Nobody doubted it, under the pretext of cultural appropriation. And I have no doubt that if she were alive, she would be wearing niqab or burqa to hide her oppression and injuries. And the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, would dodge the question and refuse to discuss this issue of banning hijab or niqab and burqa for children in British primary schools, as he did earlier. And this issue, and he would refuse to address this issue, which is related to the rights of the most vulnerable people, minorities within minorities. And that is tragic.
This is such an important point, because so often in cases of tragedy where authorities could have stepped in, could have stopped this. We've seen with the grooming gangs. We actually saw with the Manchester Arena bombing as well. And now we've seen with the Sara Sharif case. Had people been willing to say, well, why are you wearing a hijab? Well, why are you covering parts of your face and a huge amount of your body? Likely, these inspectors did not want to be called racist. And they prioritised not being called racist above the safety and indeed the life
of a child,
of a vulnerable young girl.
I refuse to buy this excuse anymore that they didn't want to appear as racist, because I would say there has been a shameful denial about the religious and cultural aspect which is bleak and grim to this case, to this horrific tragedy. A concept of having someone aggressive and authoritarian, in a conservative Muslim household, a father who is ordained by religion and culture to discipline his daughters and women, it's not a new thing. And that is a tragedy, that a man who had 16 years of record of abusing women and violence against women and children, he was not even doubted for a moment when he was granted the custody of this girl. So I don't want to buy this excuse anymore that they didn't want to appear racist. It was a shameful denial under the pretext of respecting cultural and religious sensibilities. And they threw this little girl and her right to live with dignity under the bus in order to appease, I would say, these religious and cultural fanatics. And the report has found that they are unable to, find a single solution to this problem, what happened to this little girl. I humbly suggest that how about just stop pandering to the religious fanatics? How about throwing the girl and women from minority background under the bus in order to appease religious fanatics? And how about sacrificing little girls such as Sara Sharif on the altar of multiculturalism? For a starter, I mean, just for a starter.
Yeah.
The solution, having a solution to this problem, it comes later. You need to just pave some foundation. And to do so, all you have to do is just to start treating people equally under the equal law of the land. That's all you have to do.
Khadija, thank you.